Our next honoree is Mona Hatoum. We welcome Mona Hatoum back to Beirut, the city in which she was born and where she attended BUC, later to become Lebanese American University. The Civil War drove her and her family out of Lebanon and to London, where she attended the Slade School of Fine Arts. Being of Palestinian origin, it may not have been altogether surprising that she and her family had experienced double exile. It is also not surprising that an album of her exhibition at London's Tate Gallery in the spring of 2000 is entitled "The Entire World as a Foreign Land." I find myself wondering how our celebration today appears to Mona Hatoum's inner eye. Everything about this honorary degree ceremony is intended to be harmonious, steeped in comforting tradition, and in this setting, with light streaming through stained glass windows, and with the faculty in their medieval robes, it is intended to be beautiful. I fear to think how Mona Hatoum might rework this scene, what elements she might pull out of it and then assault our senses and sensitivities with them. Might it be the robes themselves, the chairs upon which we sit, the furled and ribboned diplomas, the illuminated windows? Whatever she might select, one can be sure that she would extract from it an alter ego that would shock and disturb us. We would recognize the object, but at the same time not recognize it. I do not know if in general Mona Hatoum wants to shock her viewers, but she certainly does not want to comfort them. One of her consistent messages is that what appears familiar really is not. What we think we know is really superficial. What Mona Hatoum does is quite literally to shed a new light, sometimes a blinking or pulsating light, on the familiar and force us to see it in new and unsettling ways. The object may be a common kitchen utensil or parts of our own body. Our external parts are, of course, visually familiar to us, but despite the intimacy that joins us to them, how many of us know what our insides look like? Mona Hatoum takes us to this foreign land that lies beneath our skin. In her 1994 video, Corps étranger, she presented a physician's record of his endoscopic exploration of her own body, focusing particularly on the body's orifices. Unfortunately for us, the world we live in is both familiar and alien, of our making and yet somehow repulsive. Fortunately for us, it is this same world that has inspired Mona Hatoum and drawn us to her work like moths to a flame. I welcome Mona Hatoum to the podium.
Extremely pleased to be awarded this honorary doctorate from the American University along with the distinguished colleagues. This is for me a very significant and at the same time quite ironic gesture. Ironic because in 1970 I wanted to study art at AUB, but I was not accepted. I did not have the required academic qualifications. In fact, I was never that interested in academic achievement myself. It was as if I had made a pact with my eldest sister. She was the A student in the family, and I was the one who did just enough to pass the exams and be left alone to get on with my own thing. Although I have received quite a bit of recognition in the last few years, both from England and other European countries, in the form of awards, prizes, and honorary professorships, what makes this honorary doctorate more significant is that it is from my own hometown. There's nothing like being recognized in the place you come from. I was born right here, in fact, right next door at the American University Hospital, and I was very fortunate to experience Lebanon at the best of times. On my first trip to Europe in 1975, and I have to correct the President by saying I actually went to London on my own. I got literally stranded in London because of the outbreak of the Civil War. What was supposed to be a short visit for a week or two ended up being a life-changing direction. I was able to pursue my art studies in London, first at the Barnshaw School of Art and then at the Slade School, which is part of London University College. These were very difficult times. Being alone in London, working all hours of the day in a cold and unfriendly environment in order to support myself and see myself through art school, while watching Lebanon being torn apart in several stages and developments of the war, and with a constant fear for the safety of my parents, who lived very close to the Green Line. I hope Lebanon will never have to experience these dark times again, and my biggest wish is that in my lifetime I would be able to see permanent peace throughout the whole region, both in Lebanon, Palestine, and Iraq. In getting this degree, I'm proud to join other members of my family who have had a strong connection with this university. My first cousin, Samir Deeb, was a student here in the 50s, and after getting his doctorate from the University of Washington, he returned to AUB in 1965 as an assistant professor first. He then became professor and chairman of the biology department until 1983, when unfortunately he had to leave because of the war. His wife, Barbara Deeb, was also a faculty member at AUB during that time. My sister, Rima Hatoum, was also associated with this university for 10 years, from 1964, first as a student, then as an assistant professor in the psychology department, until 1974, when she left for the States to further her studies. Continuing on this personal note, I would like to posthumously thank both my parents who came to Beirut from Haifa in 1948. My father, Yusuf Salim Hatoum, worked at the British Embassy in Beirut from that point and for the rest of his working life, and was awarded an OBE, which is Order of the British Empire, for his distinguished service to the British state. My mother, Claire Hatoum, just for her unfaltering support and encouragement. Both my parents gave me a sense of pride, and most importantly, they taught me never to deny my origins, however unacceptable they might be in certain cultures and societies. I would like to thank both my sisters, Rima and Laila, who have seen me through my darkest hours. I would also like to thank my husband, Jerry Collins, who came into my life at the point when I became excessively busy and had to share with me the numerous trials and tribulations that come from being a busy artist. Without his support and help, I'm not sure how I would have got through the last 15 years. I would most of all like to thank the Committee for Honorary Degrees, the trustees, the chairman of the trustees, and the president for honoring me with this degree. And finally, I'd like to thank you all, and especially members of my family and my old school friends, for coming here today to share this momentous occasion. Thank you.